Hey Taj, is
Yep.
it? Hey, is it your first time here?
Yeah, this is my first time. Yeah.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Depending on how the market is doing, I see some more crowd. Sometimes I don't see it, but that's okay. We're all here to learn. And always welcome, new folks in here. You see me now, but you don't see the presentation. Okay, hold on. What's going wrong? I am sharing the screen, and why is it not sharing? How about now? Taj or anyone, do you see a screen? Do you see a? I'm on Coin Market Cap.
Yeah, I can see a screen. Yeah.
Okay.
Coinmarketcap.com. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, something else might be going wrong over there, Anish. So sorry, I just had to brew some coffee. Had a late office meeting. So was just wrapping up. I was telling Sam and Ramesh, I mean, you joined late because you joined just on time, and I wasn't really ready. But I think, yeah, I'm good now. I'm good. So I see a few new names here. So welcome you all. I'm excited that you decided to start, learning about crypto, or maybe, help us learn about crypto. So I started this group a few months ago because as we realize this is a very big area, and things keep changing in this particular sector or a crypto economy. So I thought maybe we get together and learn from each other. So for you who joined for the first time, my day job is not in crypto, but I work for a Series B startup, and so you can imagine the hustle that we have to go through it. But I want to be, I want to learn a lot more about this. Being involved in crypto for almost mostly as a retail investor for a few years, seen ups and downs. I would call myself a graduate of 2017. I know in the crypto you have graduates of 2013, next came graduates of 2017, and then the next is a graduates of 2020 or 2021, depending on when we see that crypto winter. It's only in the winter that we actually graduate from learning about crypto and building a long-term thesis. So the way I approach is I try to bring in some interesting things that I noticed for this week into this meeting, but it's open for any discussion. If you have an interesting project that you want to review, we can do that together. I also try to look at what's happening in the ecosystem and, try to bring that up and share that. In some cases, we all will learn together. It might be the first time I'm reading through a report. So for example, a couple of weeks ago, we looked at Phantasma project, did a deep dive into it. 2 weeks ago, we looked at a Messari crypto report of 2020 in terms of what they had seen and what they think is going to get in the future. Again, that came from Messari. And today, I also want to look at some of the improvements that I'm seeing in Ethereum, what their plans are. And also, if you have more time, generally we'll run out of time. If you have more time, we can look at a quick update on the Chainlink and what happened. I had reviewed the Chainlink as a project in October. So just want to give a quick update what happened on the Chainlink project since then. That's all. I generally don't spend too much time on looking at the charts. So if you are here for technical analysis on the charts, I would rather pass on the control to you. You maybe can teach us better. I generally focus on the business or on the project, whether it's a stock or crypto. That's the sort of investor I am. So yeah, what's happened today, yesterday, a month later doesn't make a difference if the business or the project continues to have a good adoption. Okay. Yeah, I see new names. So just want to set the context in terms of what we try to do in this 90 minutes or so. Okay.
You refer to the project. What do you mean by the project?
Project means various these. For example, Cardano. What's behind Cardano? What's behind Solana? Right? These tokens are only as valuable as the work behind it, right? Right now, if you look at overall, there may be around this doesn't show it. It's 16,777 cryptos. Right? And every day you will see some 30, 50 new crypto coins created. And my belief is 90% of them will just go to dust. Right? It's a same .com back, but in a new form here. Every day new websites being created. 90% of them don't exist anymore. So what I focus on is what's a new, not the new one, but in terms of, hey, what are the projects that have gained traction and why? Price can be pumped up, but if there is no work happening behind it, it's like a penny stock in the stock market. There'll be some pump and dump, but if there is no compelling business, there is no usage of it, there is no adoption of a project, it will die its natural death. How you can't pump something forever. So that's what I mean when I say on the project perspective. I see a question. Do you own any NFT? Simon asks, not yet, because I'm not an art collector. And what I see in the market right now from NFT, from my perspective, it's crazy. I mean, if you're buying an NFT, understand what you're buying into. Right? Anyone can download the JPEG. That's not the real value behind it. If you're buying NFT, either you're getting yourself into a community to which you want to get associated with, or you're buying a piece of history which is very difficult to replicate. Right? If you look at the Beeple's first 5,000 days, the first NFT that was sold for $65 million and took everyone by surprise, I do see some value in that NFT because it is not easy to create. I mean, it will take you 5,000 days to create that similar type of a piece of art, right? Beeple, I forgot the name of the gentleman behind that Beeple name, but I've seen him in multiple interviews. He took a picture every day for 5,000 days, added that into a single piece of art, then created an NFT out of it. I understand that there's a value behind it. I can't just replicate it. I need 5,000 days to do it. Similarly, there could be value in being first NFT minted on a particular blockchain. Right? Hey, because you're first. No, there can be no second first. There is some historical significance to it. Or there is an NFT which has been painted by an artist that's pretty famous. Right? These are the few things you need to evaluate in terms of a value of NFT. Today, I see a lot of NFTs being created, by everyone. Every celebrity wants to create their own NFTs. My friend wants to create his own NFT. I was talking to my brother and he says, my nephew, he would open an account in OpenSea and he said, and he has a picture he took from a camera. He says, really nice picture. He asked me, uncle, how do I create an NFT? I'm like, okay, now I know everyone is creating NFT. So you have to be careful in terms of what you want to get in. I haven't found any community to which I want to strongly be associated with. And I think any NFT, so Ethereum, why that Ethereum ETH rock, if you really look at it, has any value. If you just look at the image of ETH rock NFT. Is that the one? Yeah, right. If you look at these, come on, these are crazy images. Why would someone pay millions of dollars for this? Right? I can just copy it. If I really like the structure, I'll copy and keep it. The value is not in this image or anything. The value is these were the images created on Ethereum by the OGs. These are the first ones to get created. The value is in that historical significance that these were the first ones. But that doesn't mean, anything you just create as an NFT will get a value. So right now I see a lot of hype. So I don't own any NFT. So that answers the questions. 90% of the Bitcoins are mined, I guess. So I think what we are now 18 or 19 million Bitcoins have been mined. So only 21 million is the max one. So we can do the math. It doesn't know how many Bitcoins are mined. Same thing with Meta real estate. Yeah, right. I think all these companies are going behind the real estate and trying to grab a piece of real estate in a virtual decentralized land. Now, I really don't know which of those virtual projects will really succeed. Eventually, right now it's a race of those social networks, right? You would want to be, if you really are active in metaverse, you would want to be where your rest of the friends are. So whether those will be in decentralized land, or more of your friends will be on Sandbox, or they will be on some other project, no one knows. So right now, I think it's if you really are into metaverse, maybe the best bet is to probably take positions on all of them. We don't know which one will succeed, which one is gonna bring up the best projects, and there are a few who all are aiming to create a virtual reality. I mean the virtual land, and there are companies that are buying into it. So cool. All right, so let's get started. I mean, if you have further questions, pop it in the chat and we'll talk about it. Otherwise, I got some stuff that I collated for this week. As always, start with the funds flow report. You can all go and look at it, shared by the coin shares. Funds flow, it basically talks about how the institutional funds are doing. And the picture hasn't been happy for last 2-3 weeks. And shouldn't be no surprise because the markets have been down. So even the fund managers, they are cashing out, not too much, but a little bit. So we looked at it. This is as of ending January 7th. Investor was bearish, did an outflow of 207 billion, which is probably the highest in last 6-7 months. The highest amount or dollar value of outflow. Bitcoins are the outflow totaling 107 million, and it was in response to the FOMC. So we talked about in our Saturday stock discussion on what's happening in the general stock market. Crypto economy or crypto market as such is not immune to what's happening in the real world. If you're Fed and not Fed didn't say anything, but the FOMC minutes of meetings were revealed, which took market by surprise, saying the Fed is not just going to be little hawkish, they're also going to roll back their balance sheets. So it means we saw in the stock market is also all red for last couple of weeks, especially the growth stocks. So anything which is a little risky or risky in terms of not making money right now, or it's richly valued, or probably will make money a few years down the line, all those stocks or crypto, everything has been hammered in the markets. So if you look at it from a stock perspective, NASDAQ, which is a combination of all the tech companies, which are, and a lot of them are heavy growth companies, it's been down from its all-time high quite a lot. And I mean, it's almost 8%. Not too big, but if you look at some of the growth companies, the favorites of Cathy Wood, which is a ARK Innovation Fund, means these are the longer term tailwinds. Probably not making any money right now, won't make any money for next year or a couple of years, but these are longer tailwinds. Those stocks have been hammered. Those stocks have been down 40%, 50%, 80% in some cases, right? So is the right now in the overall market is the risk of behavior. And as a retail investors, for most of the retail investors, not you guys, because you guys seem to be interested in crypto, so you are way ahead in the game in terms of for a normal retail investors. But for normal retail investors, crypto is a very risky asset. And add to it the volatility that is pretty common in crypto. And they're looking to move out or move on to the more safer assets. So not surprised that we are seeing some outflow, which is okay. Not here for today or tomorrow. So that is all triggered by FOMC. We also saw outflow from Ethereum, $200 million. But overall, if you still look at it, asset under management of various institutional products is still $55 billion. So yeah, we saw some outflow, but what is like $200 million as compared to 55 billion, which is asset under management, right? It's not even 1%. So still a lot of holding from institutions, but just last week we saw some outflow. Okay. Next, just want to look at some tweets on the charts. General people ask me, hey, markets are on red, we're on crypto and all that. I'm like, yeah, if I look at the charts, markets are red. I can't deny that. That's a number, right? But when I look at what's happening in the ecosystem, I mean, I see a different picture. So a couple of things. Saw two more news around the Lightning Network, right? Just want to go through this. Come on, don't hang up on me. All right. Cash App integrates Bitcoin Lightning payments. So Cash App is a product from Square, not Square. Now it's called Block. It's a pretty successful product, most for retail for individuals. So Square has got two products. One is for their Square App, which is for the merchants. Then the other they have a Cash App, which is again you can consider something like you can send payments, send payments, receive payments, buy stocks. You can buy crypto on this one. And what Cash App has now announced that they're gonna integrate Bitcoin Lightning payments on their app, right? So it means all the users of Cash App will at least have access to buy and to basically use, they can use Lightning Network to actually send the payments. They really don't have to hold Bitcoin. No, that's the beauty of this is, if I want to send money overseas, remittance, I can send money using the Lightning Network at a way cheaper rate, much less fee, and way quicker than if I would send it through, Western Union. And I don't even have to hold any Bitcoin. I am sending, let's say, through dollars, it get converted to pesos in another country. That's what Strike is doing in El Salvador. So what now Block, formerly also known as Square, they announced that they're going to integrate Lightning Network. This will allow transaction between parties which are not on blockchain network. Right? There are questions around how to use it. I'm scared of blockchain. I don't understand Bitcoin and what is Web3. You don't have to. You have your Cash App. You say, I want to transfer to this. Everything handles in the backend. You don't have to worry about that. You need to hold Bitcoin or anything. Right? So Jack Dorsey was a former Twitter CEO. He mentioned that it's not an if, it's more of a when that they would integrate the scaling technologies. So now they have. So with this, 70 million, I think Cash App has almost 70 million users. I might be wrong. I'll go back and look at the previous latest quarterly results on where they were, but now they have access to it. So this is huge development. We also saw that Twitter has started accept. Twitter also added Lightning Network, Bitcoin Lightning Network infrastructure as a payment mode for Twitter tips. I think Twitter had introduced a tips jar feature somewhere in 2020. And, you could pay using PayPal or the other, standard method using your credit card. But if you want to pay, you could also pay using Bitcoin. I mean, you could use a Bitcoin Lightning Network to pay for it. If I follow someone who's in Japan or is in Germany, I might just use a Bitcoin Lightning Network to pay for it. So now Square is Cash App is also integrating. So I see this is a good news from an adoption perspective. Another one which I saw was Strike. It launches payment service in Argentina to kick off Latin American expansion. So Jack Mallor, pretty dynamic guy. He's the CEO of Strike, and Strike is the company that is also behind enabling the El Salvador country to build the whole Bitcoin infrastructure. In 2020, El Salvador was the first country to accept Bitcoin as a legal currency. And right now, that's the only country in the world in which Bitcoin is a legal currency. You can go and pay your taxes in Bitcoin in El Salvador if you want to. Right? And the government has their own wallet. It's a government wallet that all the residents of El Salvador can download it. And then if they want to transact it, or they can transact and pay only using Bitcoin if they want to. So Strike is a company that has helped El Salvador government to get onto this Lightning Network. Otherwise, Bitcoin is really slow. That's one complaint which Bitcoin, one complaint which always is that Bitcoin, the blockchain is slow. It takes 10 minutes to mint a block, approximately 10 minutes to mint a block. And if I order my coffee and I have to wait for 10 minutes, my hard coffee will become actually a cold coffee. Not really worth. But because of the usage of Lightning Network, the payments are a few seconds. It's just like as quick as your credit card payments. So we are seeing more adoption on the Lightning Network, which is opening up more use cases for Bitcoin. I think one use case which pretty much Bitcoin has won the race or has established itself is a use case of store of value. Maybe a replacement of a gold. If I hold gold, I have to worry about its custody. I have to make sure I can safeguard it from burglars, someone breaking into my home. I have to make sure it's not transferable easily. If I were to give only a portion, I can't. I don't know, because I have to cut it. So there are so many issues on that. It's a store of value. So, but Bitcoin could allow to do that same use case, because more and more people, if they're adopting as a store of value, I think that part of Bitcoin has established itself. There is no doubt in my mind. But what Lightning Network also enable it to do is use it for payments, right? So a couple of good news around that. Yeah, Bitcoin went down from 46, 47 2 weeks ago, now to 42. Who cares? I still see growth. I still see innovation happening in the ecosystem, and the pricing will take care of itself. So I find that exciting, and that I'll share in terms of from the Bitcoin side. Yeah, we talked about it. So this one came in today. Again, more adoption of Bitcoin as an asset class. So US already, US has it, Canada has it, Brazil have. They all have ETFs. Now, different countries have different types of ETFs. I'm not going to get into the details of it. We talked about in our previous sessions and in our Saturday investment sessions in depth on spot ETFs versus future ETFs, pros and cons of each. So I'll skip all that. But today news was that India, a company in India, they got an approval to launch India's first Bitcoin ETF. I'm like, what? India, I think a few months ago, they had actually banned Bitcoin. And they had that not banned. There were discussions of banning Bitcoin, but the bill eventually didn't pass the parliament. But from a talks of banning Bitcoin to allowing a trading of a Bitcoin ETF, well, that's a big change. So now we got a Canada that has got a spot-based ETFs. We got a US that has got a future-based ETFs. We got a Brazil that has got a spot-based ETFs. We got a lot of countries in Europe that have spot ETF or the exchange traded notes. Now, this is the first country in the Asia who have now given a go ahead for launching a Bitcoin and Ethereum based futures ETF. So we are still thinking that, I think this whole Bitcoin and Ethereum, all that is probably a fad and will go away, or it's just a scam, or it's a flavor of the month. I don't think so. I mean, there is an adoption increasing across the world. I can't say the same about other, 15,677 coins, though. 90% of those cryptos will just go to dust. But I still see more adoption, more people warming up, or the countries now warming up to the fact that this asset class is here to stay. It's not going to go away. Could it be need some regulations to continue flourish? Of course. And I think each of the country will figure out how best to regulate it rather than killing it. Right? So we saw, I think Nigeria was another one where they wanted to ban, but eventually they ended up not banning it, but creating their own CBDCs. So Nigeria has their own CBDC. A lot of talks around India to ban Bitcoin, and now today news is they're actually allowing Bitcoin and Ethereum futures ETF. Right? Not the best one, but better than having nothing. Let me know if you have any questions around this. So I'm like, yeah, ecosystem is growing, adoption is growing, more and more people are warming up to this crypto as an asset class. So I'm not disturbed by what I'm seeing in the market in terms of, hey, it's down. And believe me, this asset class is really very volatile. So you want to be in this, brace yourself. It's not going to be a smooth ride. For just a smooth ride, get treasuries or put in a CDs, which are now giving negative real yields. Inflation is 7%, and our CD gives, if you're lucky, the 5-year CD will give you a 1%. You're losing 6% year over year. But the price that we have to pay for the future gains is the volatility, which we have to be okay with. And the only way you can still okay with volatility is to understand about the projects. That is why I want to focus on, hey, what's happened in this ecosystem? Is it went down? Is it because it's a bad project? Or is it went down because the markets overall is down? So I don't see any let up in Bitcoin. And this week, a Bitcoin legal fund. Any guesses who is actually creating this Bitcoin legal fund? Bitcoin is a decentralized community. There is no head office. There is no CEO behind this. So who would actually create a Bitcoin legal fund? Yep. So it's Jack Dorsey. So they created and again, their idea is, and Jack is pretty, he's very passionate about a Bitcoin. The reason why he left Twitter so that you can give any reason, whatever he wants to. It was pretty clear that he wants to focus on building and doing a lot more innovation on the Bitcoin side and use Square, use Block. I don't know when I'll, stop saying Square. I still call Facebook the Facebook and not the Meta. So bear with me. So yeah, so that he can, he has got a platform from Square to do whatever he wants to do from a Bitcoin side. So this week, he actually wrote a email to the Bitcoin mailing list and talking about the Bitcoin legal fund. I'll read a few lines around this. The Bitcoin community is currently the subject of multi-front litigation, which will continue to happen. Some governments don't like it. Some governments will threaten, try to threaten this network. Again, behind this network, there are freelance or there are individual developers who just work together. So litigation and continued threats are having their intended effect. Individual defendants have chosen to capitulate in absence of legal support. So the main purpose of this fund is to defend developers from lawsuits regarding their activities in the Bitcoin ecosystem, including finding and retaining defense counsel developing litigation strategy, paying legal bills. This is a voluntary and free and voluntary option for developers to take advantage. Just want to make sure that a government cannot come and coerce the core developers to do something or build something into Bitcoin, which is in favor for just their government, right? Eventually, we don't want the Bitcoin to become what Fed has become. It's controlled by 12 Fed officials. And then they will decide what the dollar value will be. They'll decide how much, along with the government, Treasury Secretary, they'll decide how much money we want to print. That's the whole problem. The amount of money that we printed in last 1 year is more than the amount of money, dollars that we printed in last 300 years. That's crazy. We don't want the similar thing to happen to a store of value. The reason that something is store of value is that because you cannot create it out of thin air. US dollars, you can just create it out of thin air. You cannot do that for Bitcoin. But if government wants to, go behind the developers or force them, so that's where Jack and other folks that created a Bitcoin Legal Defense Fund Board to help those developers to build up their legal defense. Don't know if you have any thoughts. If you have any thoughts, feel free to unmute or raise your hand. I can unmute and we can have further discussions. And I bring up some of the news, etc., what I see, to initiate and see discussion around what's happening in this ecosystem. It's not all smoke. There is stuff behind this. There is development happening behind this. There is a work happening. Right? There could be projects which are just smoke and mirrors. We got to stay away from that. Other thing which was an eye-opener for me is about Solana. Off late, I would say in the past few months, maybe 4, 5, 6 months, Solana has seen an amazing amount of interest from institutions as well as individual retail investors. And this used to be around $2. And then it has propped up to now be the 5th largest crypto asset by market cap. If you really look at it, let's go by 1 year. It used to be around $2, $3. Went all the way to 250. Now it's back to 146. So the
image is shrunk and I can't read it. Is there some way to make that the full screen?
I probably can just zoom into this. It's a browser and made that full screen.
Yeah, it's still the same size. It's moved a bit. Yeah.
A little higher. And I was like, and the reason behind this, there are multiple reasons why it has, of course, there are some VCs behind this, multi-coin capital, and they made tons of money and they also got a lot of respect. And of course, when you get a VCs behind it, they'll figure out ways to make their money. And the value proposition of why this project is different from, let's say, Ethereum is, hey, we're pretty fast. You can do 60,000 transactions per second on Solana, and your Ethereum is stuck between around 15 transactions per second right now. And because Ethereum is slow because there is a lot of a load on it. And if you have to get onto that Ethereum highway, you need to pay a huge ticket charge, just like our highway toll, those which changes with respect to the load, right? If you have to use not the toll, but if you have to use the carpool lane, depending on how much the traffic is, the fee that you pay to use the carpool lane will change. Same is the case with Ethereum. If you want to use Ethereum to mint NFTs or do any transactions, the fee is exorbitantly high. And in 2020, it was a NFT craze. We've seen that whole craze on NFT, which means a lot of demand for Ethereum started to go high, which means a lot of the fees started to become really, really high. You buy something, an NFT, which is of $100, and you end up paying $200, $300 in the ETH gas fee. Doesn't really make sense. So we saw a lot of these other chains coming up and trying to capture that market, saying we're faster, use us, right? Zero, the fee is pretty cheaper. Solana is one of them, right? And but what I got surprised was when I saw this tweet is mainnet beta validators, please upgrade. So I'm like, they're not even on production yet. They're still running beta. And why is all retail investors are becoming, it's like number 5 if they don't have a production mainnet yet. But then I'm like, now this makes sense, because again, on January 6th, the network went down again. It's the third instance that I can recall, ever since I started reading about Solana in last, I guess, 6 months or so, that the network has gone down. So don't give in to the hype. Solana could still be a great project, but be aware in terms of at what stage it is and why is it so faster. What have they sacrificed out of that block? The trilemma they generally talk about is decentralization, security, and the speed. Ethereum has agreed that they will never compromise on decentralization. So they're okay to be slow right now, and they'll work on becoming faster in future. Solana has said they want to be really fast. Probably have they compromised on decentralization? My reading says yes. But that's why the network keeps going down, because there is some choke point. There's some choke point in their system, which just buckles under the pressure. Number 2 is maybe they haven't yet seen the load that Ethereum have seen. And the same could be the case with other, I would say, other main blockchains is, as unless there is a load, unless there is too much of a demand, like what Ethereum had, Solana, Cardano, nothing happening anyway. Polkadot, not much happening. Avalanche, a lot of interest seen in Avalanche in recent past. I would say maybe 2 months. After Solana, now everyone is jumping onto Avalanche. So understand in terms of what is there out of the 3 parts of the trilemma, which one have they planned to sacrifice now, and does that work with your thesis? Do that before you part away with your hard-earned dollars. So I was surprised to see, okay, Solana, they are still running a beta. And network went down 3 times in 6 months, and they're quickly able to also convince everyone to upgrade to the newer software version. Maybe the people who are actually running those nodes, they're not many people anyway. It might be a small group of people. It means there's a huge risk of, it's not decentralized enough. Any big government or company can shut this down. So they still need to grow. So that was an eye-opener for me. Because of so much of attraction happening on Solana, I never thought that it's still in beta phase. So that was an eye-opener. Okay, let's talk about Ethereum, because we talked about Solana around the phases on Ethereum. You can get a lot more detail of this. There are a couple of blog posts, plus there is also a podcast. I think it's almost 2-hour long podcast of Vitalik Buterin, of talking about what are at a very high level, what are the next phases of Ethereum that they're looking at. So, but what I liked it, the way it was represented, the merge, the surge, the verge, purge, and splurge. I'm like, wow, that's great. As you might already know that currently Ethereum is on proof of work consensus, which is what you call boiling the ocean, burning Mother Earth, and too bad for environment. We'll leave it for some other day, that discussion. There are both the points on both sides of it in terms of good or bad. How far it's true, nobody knows. Bitcoin is on proof of work, and that's one area where a lot of detractors of Bitcoin says that, hey, it's bad for climate. So yeah, we were talking about Ethereum. So anyway, Ethereum is in a transition phase, which is I guess it's a multi-year phase. The first one is to move from proof of work to proof of stake. There are multiple consensus mechanisms. A lot of blockchains have different ones. The most used ones are proof of work, proof of stake, and then the variations of proof of stake, right? Delegated proof of stake. Then there are some more arcane proof of history, proof of time, blah, blah. So right now, Ethereum is moving from, is already on plan to move from proof of work to proof of stake. That is called, they have their testnet and the beacon chain, which is running, which is on proof of stake. So now the next phases of Ethereum would be, first is the merge. I won't take you through all these gory details, but let's talk about the merge. The first one, new enhancement coming. And then I'm excited when I see this enhancement. I'm like, who says that there's a crypto winter? You suddenly see the messages in the chat saying, is it crypto winter? Oh, because the market has gone down 10%. I'm like, I don't see any winter. I see a lot of work happening behind this project. So where do you say it's a crypto winter? Yeah, the token price has gone down, but that doesn't dictate that the business has stopped. Right? Just like from a company's perspective, yeah, stock price is down. Man, the company is increasing their revenue by 50% year over year. It's a great business to own. If our thesis is from a long-term perspective, yeah. If you want to own it for next 1 month, probably you don't like attending my session, because I generally don't focus on what you're should do on next 1 month. So next coming up is the merge. Is that simplest of the phases, is a transition from proof of work to proof of stake. Okay. Earlier, this was supposed to happen by the end of 2021, but because there are some issues discovered, which is great, we don't want to push bugs in the main net. So it's been happening. The testing has been happening in the test net, and now what I think if my reading is correct, probably it will happen in end of Q1 or early Q2 of 2022, which means Ethereum will move from proof of work to proof of stake. It means the at least we don't have to. I mean, there are some changes which will happen. For example, there won't be any more new there won't be any fee to be paid for the mining, etc. The mining fee will vanish, but the validator, it will be replaced by the validators and all that. Right? And eventually the current mainnet will merge with the beacon chain, because beacon chain is the separate chain running in parallel, wherein the transactions are being validated by the validators who have staked their Ethereum. So if we want to become one of the validator and earn the rewards by validating the transactions, you need to have minimum 32 ETH. So you need to lock your 32 ETH. And this beacon chain was, that was created, and the whole validator started in late 2020. So it's been more than a year. So you gotta lock your ETH, 32 ETH minimum, to become a validator. Now, so the current mainnet, which is on proof of work, and they are separately on the side, we are running, it's like, if you're from software industry, you would understand, it's like running in another hot standby kind of a stuff. We are doing the same transactions validation using proof of stake. The merge will happen. This would mark the end of proof of work for Ethereum and full transition to proof of stake. Then after the merge, the next one would be Surge. I see a question from Chris. Yeah, so Chris, we'll talk about this ZK rollups. And I think 3 or 4 weeks ago, we actually looked at all the scaling solutions, not just the ZK rollups, but the optimistic rollups, Arbitrum, Optimism, ZK, everything. But yeah, I'll answer that question. The next phase will be the Surge, which means to scale Ethereum or the capacity of Ethereum so that now we can do a lot more transactions. So moving over to from proof of work to proof of stake does make it faster, because now you don't have to solve those complicated, you don't have to race against all other miners to solve that puzzle to get the norms. So that delay is not there, but still that won't be enough. We might move from 15 transactions per second to maybe 200, 300 transactions per second. The next phase, which is the Surge, that will have a massive increase in the scalability for the rollup through sharding. So sharding is, again, if you have a one lane, now you got I think Ethereum is doing 64 sharding. Someone please correct me. I've got the numbers wrong, because again, I'm not from this industry. So it all goes as a extra learning. So might be a little old in understanding this. But my reading is that they'll do a 64 shards for instead of running everything through a single pipeline. So you get a jump of 64 times in the capacity of Ethereum. So that will allow transactions to happen more cheaply. Next one is Verge. So we looked at the merge. Next is Surge. Next one is Verge, which is that's a little more technical in terms of cryptography. So from as a retail investor, and I'm not a cryptographer, but as a retail investor, all I understand this is, so today, all these transactions are when we are rolling up, they use a Merkle tree. And if you want, there's a whole literature around Merkle tree from MIT. But now they're moving from Merkle tree to Verkle tree. So MIT had published a paper on Verkle tree in 2018 on how you could still retain the same proof of the data, but at much lesser space. So as a retail common investor, all I get to understand and want to know is, if you're having, let's say, billion pieces of data, if you're using the current technology of Merkle tree, you'll need a space of around 1 kilobyte, 1024 bytes. But if you switch to this new technology of Verkle tree, you'll need only 150 bytes. So now suddenly, the amount of data that we're trying to push into Ethereum blockchain could be reduced. It means more and more transaction could be pushed into Ethereum blockchain, because each transaction data size is less. Right? So that makes the validation scalable, faster, easier to set up. Next one is Purge, which is another update to delete some of the historical data so that not all clients have to keep all. So today, all the nodes actually permanently store all the history. Now, as and when, as the ecosystem is growing, as adoption is growing, the amount of the data, the amount of the history that you store continues to grow. Right? So the Purge phase will be wherein the changes will be made so that not all nodes have to store all the data without compromising the security and the decentralization. And which means if the amount of data that each of the node has to hold will decrease, the bandwidth requirements will decrease. And lastly is the Splurge, which is working a lot of technical debt. So when I look at this, I'm like, this is a multi-year plan on Ethereum. There's way more work which is yet to be done. So where is crypto winter? I don't see winter coming. Well, I see, at least on these big projects, a lot of work happening around here. Let me address a question from Chris. What do you think about the ZK rollups as a long-term solution to scaling? Doesn't matter what I think, but what I know is Vitalik is all in into ZK rollups. Right. So currently we got those optimistic rollups, which is used by Arbitrum and Optimism. And then there are ZK rollups, which is the other, I think there's the Starkware, they use it. Loopring use it. Polygon recently bought a company for 400 million, or maybe a few hundred million here or there, but they spend a big amount of money to buy a company which is again working on ZK rollups, because I think from a community perspective and the preference for Vitalik, they all want to eventually move to ZK rollups. The other scaling solutions like having your side chains like Polygon is, I think the Polygon founders, they saw the writing on the wall because they've been a side chain. And when they're seeing that from Ethereum side, the most of the community wants to move towards the ZK rollup, that's why they spent a few $100 million to buy a company and to move into basically provide a ZK rollup solution.
Vitalik recently said also that he sees optimistic rollups as an interim solution.
Exactly.
And it makes sense because with zero knowledge proofs, the proof is already, you don't need to verify, whereas optimistic rollup, you're trusting that, but somebody still needs to validate if the transaction is correct. If the transaction is not correct, then they need to slash the fees.
Yeah, and then you have a challenge period. I mean, if you are really on optimistic, you just can't be right now. You got a challenge period of 7 days and all that stuff.
Right. So in ZK, you don't have to do that. It's all built in. So as a long-term solution, ZK is definitely, that would be the reason why it would make sense to stay up with ZK rollups.
Because on the optimistic side, it's the way which the world currently works today. We all assume that everyone else is honest. If not, we got a core system. Challenge it. That's what the optimistic rollups, optimistic solutions, scaling solution is. We assume things are fine. Otherwise, in 7 days, anyone challenges it, we'll fight it out. ZK is a different one in which there is no scope for cheating. It's cryptographically secured that you can't even cheat. If that you get your zero knowledge proof, it's done. We don't have to wait and validate it. There is no possibility of cheating in that one. And I think, Milind, thank you for adding that flavor. That's the reason why Vitalik is all in behind the ZK rollups.
Sure. In math, we trust.
In math, we trust. Yeah, in code, we trust. In math, we trust. Exactly.
I'm not sure about code.
In all of these big blockchain projects, the main tenet behind this code is law. It's a different matter that we have violated that code in multiple projects. I mean, Ethereum did, right? During the initial phase, right? After the hack, the DAO hack, they violated that code is law. But I think those were the initial days. Probably you can still forgive. But we are seeing some other projects also violating that. But anyway, topic for some other discussion. Other thing I spent some time this week was something I think someone asked a few weeks ago that, hey, I have accounts in multiple wallets and all that. How do I see everything together? For our traditional, okay, Taj says, great session at wrap up. No problem. You're welcome, Taj. Good to have you here. See you next week. Or if you're interested in stock, we actually meet on Saturday to talk about stock side, not the crypto.
Oh yeah, I think I would love to join that as well. So I'll check it out, the meet, and then we'll go ahead and join that.
My profile, actually started that meetup, and then we branched out crypto separately because crypto itself was taking a lot of time. So we said, can't cover everything in 2 hours. So let's do separate for crypto.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely check out the meetup profile and everything. Yeah. And we'll join the Saturday session, you said?
Saturday, Saturday 10 a.m. It's under my different meetup groups. So in my profile, it should show up.
Awesome. Sounds good. I'll check it out. Thank you so much. Really great session. Pretty informative for me, being a newcomer in the crypto space.
Believe me, everyone is a newcomer. I mean, 5 years is nothing. We are just in a very early stage of a long ride here. So we are all good. Cool.
Sounds good. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Bye. So I can't remember who asked saying, is there anything around on the crypto side that is equivalent of mint.com, which means if you hold assets into multiple financial institutions, Mint is not the only one, but there are many companies that provide you a service of, say, if I hold my salary goes into Bank of America, I have a mortgage from Wells Fargo, I have a credit card from Capital One, I have a car loan from, give me another bank, Chase, I have a business account with the Bank of the West, and I have my kids 5 to 9K somewhere else, and then I have a retirement account with Fidelity. How do I know my information across all these financial institutions? What's my net worth is, what my bank balance is. So there are multiple companies that provide you this something called aggregation solutions. Mint.com is pretty popular among retail investors. All big banks provide these solutions. If you bank with Bank of America, they provide you this aggregation solution. If you bank with Fidelity, they also provide you with solution in which you can add and get the data of, if you're in Fidelity, you can actually see your Bank of America account balance. You can get your how much you have to pay for your PG&E. Idea is, let's get all your financial information together at one place. Then we can make a better financial decisions. So this solution exists in traditional, I would say, CFI, right? Centralized finance world. The question was, does anything exist on the crypto world? So I came across this week, I did some study, I came across Zapper Fi. It's an interesting project, to say the least, right? I just want to share that with you, but just to set up the context behind this Zapper. Like we have a domain name services, DNS, for the websites. If you go to google.com, eventually from a computer language perspective is a bunch of an IP address, internet addresses, which is numbers. Of course, difficult to remember the numbers. So we came up with a human readable, human memorable names. Let's call it google.com. Or otherwise, the computer name of the google.com would be something 142.250.72.196 or something other than this, right? These is what the computer understands. You and I can't understand that. So we say, hey, let's call it a google.com. And we use a service which converts these numbers into the names, which is called domain name service. There are multiple companies provide these domain names, GoDaddies, HostGators of the world. Now, when it comes to the crypto world, there's a similar service called, and there are more than one, but the most popular on the Ethereum side is Ethereum name service. So if you want to build your own identity. Hey, thanks, Milind, for joining in. If you want to, in our internet world, if I want to build my own identity, I want to have my own website, I got a DNS. I buy a domain name, and then I create a web page that talks about me. In a crypto world, I could have an ENS. So for me, if I were to tell you, if you were to send some funds to me, you were to send it to my wallet address, which is completely unreadable, right? So wallet address would read something like this. If I tell you, okay, you like this section, or hey, you want to donate something, send it to this address. What crap is this? If this economy starts to grow more, if more and more people start to use this, This is usually impossible to read. So we'll need to have a similar service in the crypto world. At least on Ethereum side, they have an ENS. So this address, instead of me telling you this, I can just tell you, hey, send it to vivek.eth. Because I have bought this crypto domain, which maps to this wallet address. So any money you send it to vivek.eth will actually end up in my wallet, which is this. You don't have to remember this crap. You just have to remember this. Way easier to remember. Right. So with that background, let's come back to Zapper in terms of what Zapper allows us to do. So I was having some fun with Zapper. Right. I went to Twitter and I saw some people having their ETH domain names. Now consider if I have got multiple, either I could have addresses. So if you have a multiple accounts on different exchanges, you can add it here and you can collate everything. So for example, for demonstration purpose, I added Vitalik's ETH address in here. I added a couple of others. And I'm like, okay, let's see what does Mr. Vitalik has. So in this particular wallet, he has got some 21, this is worth 21 million. That's the beauty of open blockchain. His data is not hidden. Try that in a traditional finance. There are always privacy concerns. You won't even get to know anything about other people's account. This could be scary as well. But so I went there. I'm like, okay, what all does he hold? What all does Vitalik hold? Not at all surprised. They got 4,875 ETH just in this wallet. There may be more wallets that I may not be aware of. Right. Then got some KNC, OMG, probably are donated by the founders of these. They got a different ETH. I don't know what this ETH is. Or maybe this could be a wrap. I think this is a wrapped ETH on Algorand. And then the other tons. They got a Matic and Mana and others. Okay, let's consider this as my wallet. If I want to add another wallet, I can come and add that here as well. And then I added some other folks that I'm connected to on Twitter. Okay. No. And what is it? Create a bundle. And then I can say, okay, imagine I have got account in exchange A, exchange B, exchange C, and now I say create a bundle. I'm hoping that it will tell me let's give it a name, US exchanges. Say instead of Vitalik, it's me. I hope. Well, let's see what it does. Okay. I'm hoping to see that it should give me aggregated information. Okay. Trying to see what it does. Yeah. Okay. It took some time. But yeah, it now gives me a portfolio level information in terms of what is being held in this account across all the addresses that I've added. Now, instead of adding Vitalik address, you could add your own addresses and see how much is your overall portfolio across all the accounts that you hold. Sorry, I can't recall who asked me that question, but yeah, Zapper does allow you to do that. It will give me information not just on the individual one, but it also tells what are the NFTs that I hold on the on those addresses. Let's get some fun. Let's see what this shows up. Okay. Maybe someone holds too many NFTs. So anyway, so I was having a little fun around to see this aggregation service. So yes, some aggregation service on the crypto world. Zapper is one of them. There could be more if someone else has used something else. Yeah, let's bring it up. Let's share that. But I found one, which is Zapper. So we really want to consolidate your positions and want to get a single pane of window view, Zapper is one of services that could allow you to do that. PSN say, can you get the address of Binance account, or all the coins need to be transferred to a wallet to get that address? No, I think if you go back here, let's say if I were to add, it does, it's a BTC. So I think this works for Ethereum tokens or the Bitcoin. I don't know if the Binance supports the Binance blockchain or not. Probably does not. So any tokens on Ethereum blockchain or on the Bitcoin. Again, check it out. I mean, you don't even have to create an account in this. I didn't create any account or do anything. I mean, creation of an account is a thing of a past in crypto world. At max, it will ask me to connect the wallet, which I haven't connected because, hey, I don't want to, I was just wanted to explore what it does. I really don't want to consolidate my accounts. So you could just go to Zapper and what I do, where did I didn't connect it. I think, yeah, I went to Zapper and I clicked on address book and I landed here. And then I started randomly putting in, some ETH addresses. If you know some other Ethereum address, you can just add it here. Or you can add your own to just get the consolidated view. So check it out with the Binance address. Looking at this, what's mentioned in the text, I don't think that they support Binance. But again, I don't have any address that I can use right now. Or we can check it out. Maybe let's go to Binance Blockchain Explorer. And which is the best Binance Blockchain Explorer? BSC is come right over there. Maybe let's pick up one address and see. That's the transaction hash. Does it bring anything from Binance? It does. I hope this one Binance to Binance, or is this something else? So yeah, you can check it out. It's a BNB. So looks like it does. Yeah, so that's the thing I wanted to share. There was a question around this. How do I get an overview of my holdings across different accounts? This is one option. There is always an option, which is Google Sheets or Excel, right? For every software, we have one solution, Excel. So that is always there, but there's a lot of manual work will be involved in terms of whenever you do a transaction, you need to update it there. Or this is Zapper is another one. Okay, so the last thing, I mean, unless there are questions, the last thing I wanted to do was to, did you see how rich the Binance founder is? CZ, Sam, they're all, what do you call as a crypto billionaires, right? And also Suzu, I think the 3 Arrows Capital fund founder, they all are crypto billionaires. And I think CZ last estimate, because again, Binance is not public, but last estimate I heard was CZ maybe around 60 to 90 billion dollars worth. Sam Bankman-Fried could be around $20 billion worth. So yeah, and what FTX? That's where the Sam started. Is old, what, 4 or 5 years old? Not more than that. But now is worth close to $20 billion. It created that amount of value. Is there any specific project that interests you, or something caught your attention that we want to go through or talk about? We can do that. We can do that now. I just want to make sure you get the value what you came here seeking, and it's not just me sharing, okay, what I had in my mind. So if there is any project that you have in your mind and I say, hey, let's explore it, I'm happy to do that.
I don't have a specific product, but I'm just feeling kind of overwhelmed and sort of confused trying to get a handle on all this. The general basis of opportunities for investing. One is with buying a coin, hoping it'll appreciate. Another is, I know, but then there's other things. I guess there's a thing about Binance or something. Maybe you can explain that. Decentralized finance, how you invest in that.
Yeah, so DeFi is a little more advanced one. So if you're completely new, so there are, and again, this is not, please, everything that we talk here is just for education. I am not a financial advisor. I don't know if I could ever be, though. I just don't have that blood in me. But let me just share something. Okay, so if we're moving from our traditional finance, which is generally called CFI, if it's the first time, there are a few options. Number one is just buy a crypto asset. Right? What that means, you also, if you buy crypto asset, you have to open an account in any crypto exchange. There are a few: Coinbase, Gemini. These are, I am only talking about the US regulated exchange. Kraken. No, these are big ones. Then there could be more eToro and others. So you could open an account there, transfer your USD over there, and then as you buy shares, the same process, you just go and say, you know what, I want to buy Bitcoin, or whatever, I want to buy Ethereum, or I want to buy Solana, or depending on, generally all the exchanges will have all these big coins, big projects. So you can check what exchanges are your assets or project coins listed. This is one step, right? But that's why I focus on, if you're just buy and hold investor, I focus on reading about this project, build my own conviction, and then go and buy it. What's the other option? The other option is, I don't want to take a hassle of creating another account in another exchange. Gosh, I got a bank mortgage. I don't want this. Okay. If you are trading with Robinhood, or if you have a PayPal account, or if you're using Square's Blocks Cash App, they all allow you to buy crypto assets. Bitcoin, Ethereum, I don't know, what's the overall, how many assets do they allow you to buy? This is another option. But please remember that the pricing that you get here, it could be a little more, it may not be as favorable as you what might be able to get through exchange, because there is no regulation on a fair pricing on crypto side. But it is an option. You don't have to create any separate account on separate exchanges. But
and what is this modality, the second modality that you're pointer at?
If you have an account with Robinhood, or if you have a PayPal app, or if you have a Square's Cash App, you can just directly buy Bitcoin from your app, from your PayPal app. They enabled buying and selling crypto assets almost a year ago now. So that's now, these are the, I would say, two ways to get in and get exposure to crypto assets. Then
However, if you buy from Robinhood, PayPal, or Cash App, you cannot move the Bitcoin to your wallet.
I haven't come to that yet, because I think that could be even too overwhelming to talk about taking a self-custody, right? So Robinhood is actually working on that functionality. The new upgrade should allow you to move it. But keep that aside, I have trusted my financial institutions for decades, and I'm okay with them holding my coins, whether it's a decentralized exchanges or whether it's a Robinhood, PayPal's. I'll just buy and leave it there, right? But you run into the same risk of what if PayPal get hacked? What if PayPal goes rogue? Because there is not much regulations around it. So to be comfortable with the fact that these are the entities that are holding it, right? Once you become more comfortable, then next step comes in, okay, now I understand this ecosystem. I want to take the custody of my own. Then we talk about moving it to your own wallets and stuff like that. But these are the two ways. Now, but this means you're also subjected to the volatility that comes along with Bitcoin, Ethereum's. The next step, which becomes when you talk about the DeFi, is, I would say, a little more advanced step. Even then, there are stages of getting into DeFi. First, you get into the CDeFi. Things like you got a Nexus of the world, you got BlockFi, you got Celsius. These are three big ones I'm aware of. Then I think you got the regular exchanges. It's like Coinbase doesn't do. They were slapped by SEC, so they couldn't do it. But I guess the Kraken allows you to do it. In which, if you want to avoid crypto volatility, you basically get a stable coin, which means the value stayed to $1. I buy this on, and this is my personal experience. I bought this on Coinbase, opened an account in these, because these are centralized finance. Just you open an account in your bank, you open an account with this. But BlockFi gives me 8% return on stable coin. Celsius gives, again, I think 8.8%. So I was like, I have some funds sitting in a bank account, paying me nothing. Maybe I'll get some 8%. But of course, you have to worry about the gas fee and all that. I'm not getting into that calculation. Because if you just want to transfer $1,000, doesn't make sense, because the gas fee itself could take $150. Your return, your period for getting back your return could be more than a year. But if you're doing it for bigger amount, could work out. This is an option. But risk, what you run here is, these are not FDIC insured. These deposits are not FDIC insured. So you got to be comfortable with that. But this means the value stays $1. You put in $1, all you're doing is earning 8% interest, which might be an attractive option for someone who doesn't want to take, go through the volatility, but stepping stone to understand, okay, how can I generate some additional yield rather than waiting on, sitting on my bank account. But these are the two main ways. Then comes the DeFi. So my process was go through this before I try to do anything related to DeFi, because that means transferring your coins from assets from one address to another one. And if you make a mistake, there is no 1-800 number that you can call. So you're on your own. So be comfortable, then only move to DeFi. So, okay, so what do you know about DRIP? Is DRIP a token, or it's a dividend reinvestment plan that you're referring to? I mean, in traditional finance, DRIP is a dividend reinvestment plan, which most of the brokerages firm will allow you to do it.
Oh, it's a coin. It's a token.
Okay.
There's a drip network.
Drip network. I never looked into that, but let's look into that now. Oh, that's being. So what it does? What's their website?
So the way it appears to me is it's like having a savings account on a blockchain. But if you haven't looked into it before,
No, but we can look at now, but they haven't even given what's there here. Drip token website, not clothing. Drip community. Is the latest project developed by you? Okay. It's on Binance Smart Chain, capture value being scarce, deflationary.
there's a white paper somewhere that I haven't been able to find, but this website that you're on now it doesn't give much information.
Yeah, so first of all, I mean, the capture value by being scarce, deflationary, censorship resistant, by being built on robust, truly decentralized blockchain. They're just trying to sell themselves really hard. I don't like that when the projects try to. Okay. The fact that they haven't even, this is difficult to read from a color contrast perspective. Not much thought has gone into designing this white paper itself. This one will seem to be an amateurish work. Oh, the first page, the choice of the colors itself. But let's move on.
Where did you find the white paper?
It's right there on their website.
Oh, I missed it.
Oh, that's sorry.
Oh, there it is. Oh, okay, cool. Thanks.
So, okay, this seems to be a little amateurish work, but the drip network affects component like a boss, Forex Shark. This recommend for exchange is a fountain content can fund directly on it. Okay, so the real white papers look very different, which talks about more about the technology, what's happening. This one, I'm not at all, excited about looking at this. We have added a whale tax on withdrawals. No, you remember where I've seen that earlier? Similar thing. Now this is, I think, the third or the fourth project. The first one where I saw this whale tax was on that popular Netflix series, Squid Games token. Right. So that was created to bank on the popularity of Squid Games, the most popular TV, not the TV show, the Netflix show. And then someone created a Squid Games token. And there was also, they mentioned that they got a whale, something so that the whales cannot sell it. So you cannot sell and it was a total sham. There are so many red flags. If you actually look into that white paper, I think now probably Western may not even exist. And it was a complete rug pull. I'm not saying that this one it is, but looking at these pages seems to be pretty close to that. So those who bought their Squid Games, they were not able to sell it because the smart contract didn't allow them to sell it. And the reasoning that they gave was, we don't want whales to sell off the tokens, and hence we are protecting you. And once I think $11 or $12 million of that Squid Games token were logged in the smart contract, the developers who had basically had the loop, had a backdoor entry, they sold everything. And then the rest, because they had a tons of Squid Games token that they had minted earlier, and the rest was just holding the bag. Not only this one, I saw another project, I think, and in one of the meetings, someone else also brought up, and that was like a similar story. There are so many shams going on, so let's be careful. And after I think a few weeks, exactly the same thing happened, which we thought would happen looking at their white paper. So be careful of this one. This smells scam to me. Just looking at the white paper. And again, this doesn't need more than 10-15 minutes of a little due diligence to to look around. Okay, what's in this project? So which are for was a Squid Games. I think Squid Game, and after that Squid, a lot of other stuff came in. It's again, yeah, it was just huge pump to 500. I think there was another project which was like up to $2,000 and then became zero. So sorry, I don't have very positive feedback on Drip by looking at this. Did you do Cadena yet? Yes, we talked about Cadena, and it's an exciting project, and maybe I can give you the link to go back and see when did we talk about Cadena. Yeah, but we did. I'll have to check in terms of which day we talked about Cadena, and all the I actually post the recording of this on YouTube. So if you want, you can look into my YouTube channel and review the Cadena. But yes, we reviewed Cadena. It's an interesting project.
How do we find your YouTube channel? Has it got your name Vivek on it or what?
No, it's actually we started with everything started as an options. So I am on option cake. I just started adding the crypto content, and again, I just do it, whatever the recordings we discuss here, I just post it there. But you might see more content related to the options and the derivatives and the stocks and the tradings over there. So this is the option gig channel. Yeah, so yeah, Chris, we did review Cadena, and I mean it was an interesting project. The way they're trying to scale the whole blockchain was amazing. Instead of doing sequential blocks, their concept was to layers and to scale the transactions. Let me just bring up the document itself. Then we can get into the channel. There's a Cadena document. There we go. Oh yes, this is what we did. Yeah, what is Cadena? The founders, I like the founders. Both of them are from a blog. I mean, one of them has an experience in blockchain while building the JP Morgan, while JP Morgan CEO was talking crap about blockchains and the Bitcoins. Its team was actually building their own JP Morgan blockchain and JPM coin. So the leader from there and one person from SEC steering committee meeting, they joined and started creating Cadena. And Multi-Coin Capital it's a VC, it's a big VC, made a lot of money. We talked earlier, in a lot of money in Solana, and so they are behind it. So like that, consensus mechanism, parallel proof of web, chain web. So there's a nice video around that. So it could give up to $400,000 transaction per second. Is huge. And tokenomics side, it's okay. Technology, they're using Pact to write smart contract. Not too enthusiastic about it because, hey, you're building this whole ecosystem in a technology which is arcane. Not many developers use it. If you're making it difficult for developers to build applications on your platform, you may not even have many number of applications and the adoption. Same issue we are seeing with Cardano. So that's something which I'm a little concerned about. But I think overall, I still want to see the ecosystem to grow, right? They had a roadmap of DEXs and NFTs and then Ethereum-Merge. So I'm just waiting for them to come true on their roadmap before taking a big exposure on Cadena. But yeah, we talked about it. Okay. Okay, I don't see. Would like to know more about Tezos. Yeah, Tezos. I kind of had some, I would say, some big noise to begin with in 2017. I haven't seen too much of a traction last few years, except the fact, if I recall correctly, Tezos got lawsuit from SEC. Or was it Tezos or something similar to that? Or was it a Trezors? So recently I heard something, probably maybe similar name. But Tezos is again, it's a L1 blockchain. Okay, there are so many level 1, the basic blockchains. I don't know whether the world needs so many of these, right? It's like, how many internet protocols you're gonna have? Or how many operating systems you're gonna have? 2, 5, 10? We got like, out of top 100, we probably have a 20 layer 1 blockchains itself. Some of them will just die. Things like in 2017, EOS, Tron, they were the talk of the town. But nobody talks about them anymore. Tron project has been abandoned. So it's an L1. I don't know in terms of how much of a adoption or projects are coming on top of Tezos. So should look at that. Maybe we can spend some time in our next session to talk about Tezos. But I have not done a deep dive on Tezos before. So there are so many other L1s which are more heavily used. There is more adoption. There is more network effect. I'm like, why do I want to spend time on Tezos? Ooh. All right, any other project that comes in mind? Do let me know. We can cover that in our next week's session. I think we just hit our 90 minutes mark. What I may also want to do, again, if next week we have a time to get back on Chainlink, give you an update on Chainlink. We last reviewed it in October, I guess. And they just posted their year-end update on what additional enhancements they have done in terms of the functionalities on Chainlink. So probably next week we'll cover that along with Tezos. Any other interesting things anyone doing? Like to share? All right.
A basic question.
Sure.
I'm sort of new to this, not only the blockchain, but new to these these Zoom through Meetup. So to come to your meeting, what I do is to these meetings, I scroll through Meetup, and then sometimes groups are listed one week and sometimes they're not, even though they're actually meeting. Is there some way to directly connect to your Zoom talk other than having to hope to find you in Meetup? And
so the problem is that the Zoom link might change. So if you have signed up as a member of that Meetup group, you won't have to scroll through it, right? You can, then it should appear as the Meetup that you are already member of, and then you'll have a direct access. I mean, you can directly from there, you should be able to find out the next event. I don't know, maybe someone else can share the experience.
If you join his Meetup group, which is Cryptos for All, you will get notified every week in your email that the meeting is coming up, and you can register for the meeting, and then you'll get the Zoom link.
Thank you. But also now there's a question, you have to somehow get your email address in there. And I found in the beginning, I used some wrong email address. So how do you change your email address in there?
on Meetup.
No, I don't know whether it's Meetup or for, it seems, I know they say sometimes when I'm signing up, they ask for email address, and I know I made a mistake entering the email address. I didn't put .com. So
I would just rejoin Meetup. Just create a new Meetup account with the email address that you know is good.
oh, I see. So it's the same email, it's the same email address you enter in when you're signing up for Meetup as a whole.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's an old Meetup. Oh, that's an old email. Aha, that's why. Okay, thank you again.
Thanks, Wendy. Okay. I guess that's it for today. Hopefully we'll have some good traction on the markets as well, but shouldn't phase us at all if we are looking at the overall ecosystem and its growth. But it's good to see green here. But even if it is not green, it's still okay. Life goes on. Market goes up, market comes down. That's why you get paid for the risks or the volatility that we take. Cool. If it was easy, everyone else would do it. The reason is we have to put this hard work to understand it, and it's not easy. So that's why those who put in the work will get paid for it. Cool. Thanks, everyone.
Also, if you could quickly say, how is it you capture these chats? You know, I know that you click on the three white dots, and sometimes it seems to save, and sometimes it doesn't. And if it does save, how do you actually access it?
Which three dots? I see chat like here. So I don't save this.
Or how do you save a chat? I mean, oh, this is a chat.
Are you on a
right, okay.
computer or are you on an iPad?
Computer.
You should be able to save it on your computer, but you can't save it from an iPad.
Okay, well, I don't have an iPad. I'm using a computer. So, but how I don't know. They say
What is this? This is probably upload. I mean, oh yeah, there is a save chat, right? You can come and say save chat. And it says show in folder. It will actually show you which folder it's saved on. There we go. So these three dots here say save chat.
So you click on the three dots
and say save chat.
And then, and there's somewhere else where you click on save chat.
Yeah, if you click on three dots, it will give you this.
Let's see if I can see that here. Let's see.
All right, I mean, this is Zoom. So
I'm clicking on the three dots. Nothing seemed to happen. Let's see.
Welcome, Ramesh.
Okay, save chat. Okay.
Yeah,
exactly. Click on save chat. Now, how do you find that later? Where does that, when you want to find it, say 2 days from now?
Save chat, as you can see here, it will give you show in folder. You click on this, it will tell you where exactly it has saved.
I'm sorry, I didn't follow that. I clicked on save chat, and now how do I find that, say, in 2 days from now?
So it shows, you see on my screen, it gives a show in folder. When you say save chat.
Oh, wait a minute, I'm looking at,
I don't think it's coming up on the screen we see, Vivek.
Oh, you're not seeing my screen?
We can see your screen, but we
maybe
can't
the chat
see
is not coming up on the screen.
No.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that's probably Zoom.
We're looking at your crypto page.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then the chat.
Chat.
So, or generally it'll get saved in the path that P.S. Cheng has mentioned. But if you click on this save chat, it opens up a little band on which there is a right-hand side. There is a case show in folder. You click on it, it will open up that folder path where exactly it has stored. Again, this is Zoom. If you just Google on, or YouTube says how to find the location of saved chat, there will be a YouTube video for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, Zoom is widely used. So someone would have created this video for it anyway. Cool. All right. Thank you again for joining in. It was fun. It's motivating to see, you join in, and motivates me to at least read up something and bring it up for discussion. So thank you for that. Let's, if you're joining the Saturday discussion for stocks, I'll see you on Saturday. Otherwise, we'll talk again around the crypto side on next Thursday.
Oh, what's on next Tuesday? Is that stocks or is that crypto?
No, I don't do Tuesday. I only have a Saturday and Thursday. Saturday, I do stocks. And Thursdays is where I do, Thursdays is where I do.
I guess I misunderstood you. Thursday. All
So
right.
let me just write. So if I come to my meetup group. So investing option. I mean, if you're interested, I'll just paste the link here. But this is where. So this was the OG, right? Original group. We started with discussion stocks. And then we realized that folks are also interested on the crypto. We started adding crypto into the content. And then we realized crypto itself is becoming too big. I'm like, okay, let's do 2 separate sessions. So stock I've been doing for some time. We did 114th session on January 8th. And then crypto, I separated out and started meeting on Thursday just for cryptos. But this is the stock meetup. So if you are interested in stock, and some of the folks are actually, we started all in Saturday group, but they're also interested in crypto. We started meeting on Thursdays.
Oh, and how did you find this listing? Is this under your groups?
Yes, it is under my group. I just pasted the link.
But I mean, for us, I'd look under my groups and I'll find this. Look under my groups, find your group, and
Nope.
so when
So I just pasted. So Rob, I just pasted the link in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
Rob, any group that you register for, that you sign up for, will appear in your My Groups.
Okay.
So
And
you
then
have-
they list all the meetings in there?
Yes.
You will click on the group and then the group will list the meetings.
Thank you very much.
if you click on this, if you become member of this group, you click on this, it will
Right.
actually show you, it will send you an email when the next one is coming. The next one is January 15th. I will update in terms of the content or what company or what's the core topic that I want to cover, because I generally have one. Like last week, we talked about all these high flying growth stocks. I looked at, I think, 15 of them. We reviewed what's could be deep discount or could that be value trap. Before that, we did a deep dive into a new bank, a new IPO from South America company. Before that, we did a covered call option strategy. We did a deep dive on Exxon, build our investment thesis on it. So I will update in terms of what we want to cover in next Saturday. So if you're subscribed to or a member of this, you will get a notification on your email.